All right, guys, what's going on? Jake Blickett staff here with Millionaire Mindset and my business partner, Sean Lynch, with the Residual Bitcoin Miner. And tonight we have a special presentation for you guys. We are going to be going over Bitcoin as a whole. A lot of people think that with the price shooting up to the moon and then coming back down to about $6,100 the other day, they're wondering whether or not there's still opportunity left for everybody to get involved. Or if you didn't do any education on the front end, now you have the ability to allow us to go over some stuff for you guys. And if you have any questions, we'll be able to answer it live on the call. So I'm going to go ahead and bring open the PowerPoint presentation. Sean, if you have anything that you want to add, then I'll just let you kind of narrate.
Sure. So guys, thanks so much for showing up tonight. Jake and I are going to go over really, what the basics are. What is a Bitcoin? How is it mined? And how we are profiting from it. It has changed our lives. Most people on this call have been taking action. There's really a great opportunity here. It's a new trend. We've really educated ourselves on it. And I mean really educated. I'm talking about 30 hours plus of education per week for the last year that we've been dived into this material. And we're here giving it to you for free. And we want to share with you what exactly we're doing to capitalize on this trend because that's how fortunes are made. So what we're going to do is go through a PowerPoint presentation to present to you an opportunity to mine and collect cryptocurrencies through the work of computers. So for starters, if you already know what a Bitcoin is and how it's mined, you might find this information a little bit redundant, but rest assured it's only 2 minutes of your time. And then afterwards, we'll get on with the meat of the presentation. So Jake's first video here is just to show the new people what exactly a Bitcoin is.
What is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is the first decentralized digital currency. Bitcoins are digital coins you can send through the internet. Compared to other alternatives, Bitcoins have a number of advantages. Bitcoins are transferred directly from person to person via the net, without going through a bank or clearinghouse. This means that the fees are much lower. You can use them in every country. Your account cannot be frozen, and there are no prerequisites or arbitrary limits. Let's look at how it works. Several currency exchanges exist where you can buy and sell Bitcoins for dollars, euros, and more. Your Bitcoins are kept in your digital wallet on your computer or mobile device. Sending Bitcoins is as simple as sending an email, and you can purchase anything with Bitcoin. The Bitcoin network is secured by individuals called miners. Miners are rewarded newly generated Bitcoins for verifying transactions. After transactions are verified, they are recorded in a transparent public ledger. Bitcoin opens up a whole new platform for innovation. The software is completely open source and anyone can review the code. Bitcoin is changing finance the same way the web changed publishing. When everyone has access to a global market, great ideas flourish. Bitcoins are a great way for businesses to minimize transaction fees. It doesn't cost anything to start accepting them, and it's easy to set up. There are no chargebacks, and you'll get additional business from the Bitcoin economy.
All right, so that's really an introduction to what a Bitcoin is. It's really a paraphrased, dumbed down version, if you will, just to give you an idea. It's a distributed peer-to-peer global ledger that's an immutable ledger, and it's kept up to date on thousands of computers around the globe, so it can't be shut down. If you think of the days of Napster, having a centralized server distributing files and media to people downloading from a central place, it can be raided, it can be shut down. But with Bitcoin, it cannot. So it's a way for you and I to be able to transfer value over the internet for free, practically, instantaneously, without having permission or giving party to a central authority like a bank or a PayPal or a Western Union to keep track of everybody's ledgers and then collecting fees along the way. So it lowers remittance. It takes away the power of the authority, of that central authority that has the power to decide who uses these services. There's billions of people on the planet that are unbankable because they don't have IDs. They don't, because of the color of their skin, because of their, they're discriminated against. They're just not part of the global economy. And Bitcoin is going, and other digital currencies are going to change the way we do business, and everything's going digital. Money is digital these days. If you think about your dollars that you carry, most people don't even carry cash anymore. It's just a bunch of ones and zeros on a screen that's maintained by a central authority. So how does this currency come into circulation? It's through a process called mining. So right behind me is a piece of machinery called an Antminer, which we're going to discuss further on this call. And this machinery is what used to verify these transactions on this public network, this open ledger. So the next video is going to show you the process of mining, and this is how the currency comes into circulation over time.
What is Bitcoin mining? Bitcoin operates as a peer-to-peer network. This means that everyone who uses Bitcoin is a tiny fraction of the band of Bitcoin. But where did Bitcoins come from? With paper money, a government decides when to print and distribute money. Bitcoin doesn't have a central government. With Bitcoin, miners use special software to solve math problems and are issued a certain number of Bitcoins in exchange. This provides a smart way to issue the currency and also creates an incentive for more people to mine. And since miners are required to approve Bitcoin transactions, more miners means a more secure network. The Bitcoin network automatically changes the difficulty of the math problems, depending on how fast they're being solved. In the early days, Bitcoin miners solved these math problems with the processors in their computers. Soon, miners discovered that graphics cards used for gaming were much better suited to this kind of math. Graphics cards are faster, they use more electricity and generate a lot of heat. The first commercial Bitcoin mining products included chips that were reprogrammed for mining Bitcoin. These chips were faster, but still power hungry. ASIC, or application-specific integrated circuit chips, are designed specifically for Bitcoin mining. ASIC technology has made Bitcoin mining even faster while using less power. As the popularity of Bitcoin increases, more miners join the network, making it more difficult for individuals to solve the math problems. To overcome this, miners have developed a way to work together in pools. Pools of miners find solutions faster than their individual members, and each miner is rewarded proportionate to the amount of work he or she provides. Mining is an important and integral part of Bitcoin that ensures fairness while keeping the Bitcoin network stable, safe, and secure.
Awesome. So really, if that didn't sink in, you might have to watch it 3 or 4 times. Sometimes it helps listening to it from an actual person just to put it all together. But really, it was really well explained in this video. So Bitcoin mining can be done by anybody. You just basically have to contribute hardware and electricity to solving those mathematical problems, which is the proof of work. It's the algorithm that backs Bitcoin. That's why we can trust that each transaction on the ledger did indeed occur and that they cannot be changed. A transaction that happened 3 years ago, 4 years ago is permanently on the blockchain forever, and it cannot be changed because the whole proof of work would need to be redone all over again. It would require more computing power and more energy than the Bitcoin network as a whole, and which it can be theoretically done, but it won't be done pretty much. It would take a lot of resources, a lot of money. It wouldn't be worth it. You might as well just join the Bitcoin network and mine and use the network just like everybody else is. So that's the opportunity that we have here today, is that every 10 minutes, one of those blocks are mined and new currency is coming into circulation. And we have a chance at collecting some of that currency through the work of these computers that we purchase and deploy in strategic locations on the planet. So I'm going to take over the PowerPoint presentation from here. Jake, if you have to step out, if you have any words you want to say, go right ahead. If not, I'll just continue.
No, buddy, go ahead. I'll probably pick back up at the end.
Sounds good, buddy. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. So what are the requirements for you to mine Bitcoin? You need some hardware. So the video covered that back in the day, back in 2009, 2010, you could just pick up your computer and mine Bitcoins. But over time, more and more people have joined the network to try to mine Bitcoins, which increases the difficulty of those mathematical equations. And so it requires much more efficient hardware, if you will, so you can do more calculations per second and lower your energy costs, because these computers don't run for free. So the hardware that we're using these days are GPUs, which you might know as a graphics card, which you put in your computers to run video games and run other applications. And we have special hardware called an ASIC. The video mentioned this. So an ASIC is a specialized chip that's just good at doing one thing, and that's solving the algorithm, the SHA-256, which is the proof of work for Bitcoin. So not to confuse you too much, but an ASIC is just a piece of machinery that's specialized in one task only. So you can't really use this hardware to do any other useful calculations like play video games or do number crunching for sending shuttles to space or something. So that's what an ASIC is. So after you've purchased your hardware, because that's your initial cost, you have to purchase the hardware. The hardware needs to be run with electricity. It needs to be deployed in some sort of facility. It could be in your basement. It could be in a warehouse. You need some sort of place to hook this up. These things overheat because they're running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So you got to make sure you've got cool air coming in from somewhere. So if you're in a warm climate, you'll need AC. So that's going to pump up your operation costs. You need a place to deploy it, and it's noisy. So you need to make sure you're not doing it in a place where the noise is going to be a problem. So those are the basic general requirements to mine Bitcoin if you wanted to do it on your own today. So if you did do it on your own, what would it end up looking like? Probably something like this. So you'd probably be a novice, buy some GPUs, buy an ASIC, set it up with some fans, some duct tape, and you'd probably be profitable. You might make a little bit of money for a month or two and then realize that, oh my God, I have to continuously upgrade and maintain and find ways to be more efficient, because Bitcoin mining is a competition. That's why it's so lucrative to do it as a group, because we mine our resources together. We pool our resources together to have more, to be more efficient in the process, have the top of the line equipment optimized with the lowest costs so that we can make more money. Now, I see some questions in the chat here, so I'm just going to pause this for a second. Oh, hey, Melanie, thanks for joining us. So the opportunity that we're going to talk about this evening is called Bitclub Network. It's a mining pool. So the video talked about how you can pool your resources with other people and contribute to the calculations as a group, and then you get paid based on the efforts of your hardware in the group. So if you do it with the professionals, your money will be going towards hardware that's installed on your behalf in special and in select locations on the globe, which we'll cover in a moment. And this machinery will secure the Bitcoin network 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you'll get your share of the Bitcoins that are mined each and every day. What machinery are we purchasing? Just the top of the line machinery. So the Antminer S9 is the top of the line ASIC currently, as of this call, February 2018. So ASIC stands for Application Specific Integrated Circuit, and it's especially designed to do one thing only. It's mine Bitcoin at mine crushing speeds with relatively low power consumption. These chips are fabricated. They're expensive to fabricate and time consuming. And there's only one or two manufacturers on the planet that produce these devices right now. So they kind of have like a monopoly, and those companies are called Bitmain and Bitfury. And you can look them up. So everything that I'm sharing with you on this call, you can do your due diligence. So here's the Bitmain website, and I pulled up their Antminer S9, and it's selling for $2,300 US, but it'll be shipped to you probably in 2 months. Shipping date March 31st by the time it gets to your house. So by the time you start mining, it'd probably be 2 months from now, if you could get your hand on it directly from the manufacturer. Next slide. So I pulled up, so if you're not going to go directly to the manufacturer, because you probably will be in line for a very long time and you might not get any, you could try your luck on Amazon or eBay. And here's a screenshot I took off Amazon recently. People are reselling their S9 Antminers for double the price because they're so in demand. So you can pay $5,000 for your Antminer, and that's just one. And I'd like to note that the hash rate for one Antminer is 13 terahash per second. And if you don't know what a terahash is, I did not know what this was when I was looking into this. Your laptop represents about a gigahash worth of guesses per second. So if you're going to use your laptop to make a certain amount of guesses at that equation per second, you could do a gigahash per second. A terahash is 1,000 times larger. So there's 1,000 gigahash in a terahash, and there's 1,000 terahash in what we call a petahash. That's the 1,000 times more. So if we take out our calculator here and we just do a little bit of math, Bitclub Network's pool is currently mining at about 450 petahash. So that's 450,000 terahash. So if we divide that by 13 terahash, which is the hash rate of an Antminer, you're talking about 35,000 Antminers. So if you want to compete with Bitclub Network on your own, and you're paying $5,000 per Antminer, you're looking at an initial startup investment cost of $173 million just to have the same amount of equipment that we've purchased over the last 3 years over at Bitclub Network and deployed on behalf of the members. So we're talking big money here to start mining competitively today in 2018. So that's just some rough numbers to show you the magnitude of this. And even if you had $175 million, I don't know if you've been to Best Buy or a local electronics store lately, but if you've looked at the shelves for graphics cards, and you've probably seen empty shelves. So I know the gamer community is a little pissed off at the miners and the cryptocurrency world because of us, the graphics cards are a lot harder to get their hands on, and their prices are heavily inflated. So they're a little ticked off at us. And so, yeah, you'd probably have a hard time getting your hands on enough equipment to even start yourself, and you'd pay quite a premium for your equipment. But over at Bitclub Network, we've got a great partnership, we've got a good ties with Bitmain. So we're able to purchase hundreds of millions of dollars in equipment in one go, and they'll sell to us. So it's not everybody can just go to Bitmain and say, hey, I've got $100 million. Will you sell me some Antminers? You've got to have a good relationship with these manufacturers. There's not a lot of them. I know Samsung announced that they might be producing some chips soon. So that's really good. You know, if there's more manufacturers coming out in the market, creates more competition, it'll drive the price down of these Antminers and make it more profitable for us. So I'm looking forward to seeing more big players step in to make this hardware. Now, the next slide is talking about energy. So we talked about the hardware. Now, oops, sorry guys. We talked about the hardware. Now we got to run it. So where are you going to run this hardware? In California, places where the electricity is not so cheap. Well, we've chosen Iceland for one of our data centers because of this picture right here. There's a lot of geothermal energy that can be produced. Here's a picture of a hot spring, so it's allowing people to enjoy a hot spring in a cold climate, and it's running a geothermal power plant there in the background. So plenty of natural geothermal sources to create electricity with, and they got plenty of waterfalls down there too for hydroelectric. And so it's cheap, renewable, it's clean, it doesn't harm the environment, and we can run this equipment and keep our operating costs as low as possible. So if you put it all together, this is what it looks like. Just going to zoom out here. There's not going to be any sound for you guys, so I just mute this. Just going to fast forward a little bit. So if you put it all together, you've got all these machines that are owned by members placed in these racks like you see here. So it's optimized for space. You've got those HEPA filters in the back. I don't know if you missed it. Let me just back up here a little bit. There you go. You got these HEPA filters right on the wall. So when you suck the air, when the air is coming in from the outside, which is naturally cool, it's going through these HEPA filters so that there's no dust accumulation on our machines. Because I'm pretty sure you guys have taken out your computers once every spring and opened it up and noticed the accumulation of dust that lands on your CPU. And if you're not blowing that off once every year, I do. My computer has been running smoothly for years. But if you don't, you'll find your parts overheating and you'll have to upgrade your components. So these HEPA filters are there. So just want to give you guys a really good view that you could do it like this, or you could do it like we see in the video. And if you missed the picture at the very beginning, you can actually visit these facilities yourself. So here I am in the back, and I'm in Iceland. I went back in October of 2017. I was able to walk into one of our data centers and touch and see these machines at work for myself. And I'm going back in 2 weeks actually. So if you want to see more pictures, more live footage, I'll be in Iceland on February 17th to give you guys another inside look at our facility live. And so that's very reassuring when it comes to putting money into a business, buying a product, and making sure that the company is actually putting your money to work and doing exactly as advertised. Now, there's other places you can verify if our computers are actually mining Bitcoin, and that's on the blockchain itself. So here's a pie chart where you can actually look at the largest mining pools on the planet who currently have the most hardware contributing to the security of this network. And don't take it from me. You can actually visit a website here called blockchain.com. This is a blockchain explorer. Everything that happens on the Bitcoin network is open because it's an open source code. You can't actually see who the wallets belong to, so it's like pseudo-anonymous, but you can actually see all the balances and all the transfers of Bitcoin as they happen in real time. And at the top of this website, you can click on data, you can go to charts, and there's a lot of interesting numbers here, but the one that I want to point out is the hash rate distribution. You'll find that at the bottom of the page under mining information. And you'll find that pie chart that I took a screenshot of. And this will adjust every 4 days, and it'll show you the largest pools on the planet right now, which are contributing those computers towards the security of the network. And so you've got these large pie charts here that are in China. And you might ask, so why don't I join BTC.com or Antpool? Well, these aren't actually they're not open to the public where you can just join for a few $100s and then take a piece of this pie. It's people that own their own computers, their own hardware, and they point their power to a specific pool, and then all the Bitcoins that they mine every day, then they get a certain amount based on the work that their computers provided. And most of the users are out in China. So you can't really join these pools, and they don't speak English. It's dominated by the Chinese right now. So here are the smaller guys. We've got Bitclub Network here, who's currently upgrading we've had a really big 2017 in terms of new customer acquisition. So we've purchased quite a lot of equipment, which we're currently deploying. And so we should see a nice rise here. We should be very competitive in the next couple of months as our equipment starts to deploy. And so what else can you see from these charts? You can actually scroll down and click on Bitclub Network, and you can click on the most recent hash, which shows you exactly what that means. If you're part of a pool that hashes that next block, it's like winning a lottery. So you actually win 12.5 Bitcoin. This is the block reward currently. And so every 10 minutes, there's 12.5 Bitcoin coming into the ecosystem. That's 1,800 Bitcoin per day. And if your computers are the ones that help verify those transactions, you get the reward. This is your incentive for buying your hardware and running those electricity bills up through the roof. And you also get the transaction fees associated with that block. Because in order to send Bitcoin from peer to peer, there is a slight transaction fee that you have to pay based on how much Bitcoin is being used at that time. So it's really, if you want to get your transaction in first, you got to pay a higher fee than the next guy. So the fees will vary every 10 minutes. And so this particular block was worth 13.94 Bitcoin. It's newly generated coins. And you can actually see which wallet it got deposited to. And so we can see Bitclub Network's wallet has collected 68,647 Bitcoin, which represents quite a large sum of money. We had an all-time high of Bitcoin recently, 68,000 Bitcoin times 20,000 all-time high. That's $1.3 billion in 3 years worth of Bitcoin that was mined and distributed to Bitclub Network members in this last 3 years. and we're just getting started. You can monitor our hash rates directly on our website, bitclubpool.com. We currently have an effective hash rate of 430 petahash per second. That's our average. And we should hit probably 2,000 petahash by mid 2018. So that's an increase in 1,500 petahash. So just to put that into perspective, guys, it took 3 years to get this pool to 400 petahash. And in the next couple months, we should hit 2,000 petahash. It's equipment that we've paid for. It's just being shipped and deployed. And if we run those numbers again, if we add 1,600 petahash, that's 1.6 million terahash. And if we divide that by 13, you're talking about 123,000 units. So those Antminers that are sitting behind my shoulder, that's how many we've purchased roughly, and that's how many are being deployed. And once that gets deployed, well, that's going to give us a lot more calculations per second, which will just amp up our earnings, because if you come back to these pie charts, I'd expect to see us, instead of mining, 6 to 10 blocks every 4 days, we'll probably be up here with the bigger pools, 30 to 40 blocks every couple of days, which means we're mining a lot more Bitcoin. And that's a lot more Bitcoin to share in your pocket based on how many shares you own. So that's the presentation, I believe. That's all the data that I wanted to show you guys, and because I want you to do your due diligence as well. There's a lot of companies out there that might offer significant returns for investing with them. They might offer you trading. They might say that they're mining coins, but not much of it is verifiable. You basically just have to trust what's given to you. Any website that promises a return on investment or a certain return on your investment, I would stay away from. There's no return on investment with Bitclub Network, because like I've shown you, our results are based on our cumulative effort. So our computers, how many Bitcoins we mine, how many members are there, how many shares do you have? If we have 1,000 Bitcoins we mined in a month and we have 300,000 members, well, based on how many shares everybody has, that 1,000 Bitcoin has to be distributed amongst all the members. And we just continue. And we've got a great system in place where we don't actually need to bring in new sales, because all that new wealth that's created, all those new Bitcoins that our computers are generating, well, we have a built-in repurchase system. So each member can decide to reinvest a certain percentage of those earnings. Let's say 30% each month will be reinvested back into the business. And that way the business can self-fund and grow itself. This equipment has been upgrades every couple of years or so. The technology, the chips get smaller, they get more efficient for power consumption. And great analogy that was shared to me is your iPhone. When you had an iPhone 5, imagine if you were using the iPhone 5 for work, and you're mining Bitcoins, and you're setting aside 30%. That way, when the iPhone 6 comes out, you set enough aside and then you can upgrade to the iPhone 6, and you continue to mine, and you set 30% aside. So our business is self-sustaining. We don't actually need to sponsor new people, if you will. We do want to bring a lot more people to Bitclub Network, because we're offering Bitcoin and Bitcoin related services, and this creates adoption, it creates awareness. So if we were only 5 or 10 people in the world mining Bitcoins and using Bitcoins, there would be no value to use Bitcoin, because there's only 10 people using it. There's a lot, it's a network effect, kind of like the telephone or the internet or email. If you're only 10 people using email, it's not so valuable, but when you bring in millions of people, it now has more value. So it's the same thing with Bitcoin. So a lot of people ask me, so if you guys are a self-sustaining business, why are you talking? Why would you share it with me? Well, I want you to come into the business because I want you to get excited about Bitcoin and mining and the other services that we offer, so that you can share with the next person. And if that person starts to educate themselves about Bitcoin, they'll download a wallet, they'll purchase some Bitcoin, they'll start seeing the ease of transactions, and that'll just create a bigger demand. And because there's a limited supply of these coins, then the price is steadily going to rise. And because we're early adopters, we're mining the coins, it's going to end up being very profitable. So no guarantee, of course. There's a lot of that can happen over the next couple of years, but it's looking really good, this space. So I think that covers it. We also do Ethereum and altcoin mining, which you can verify just as easy as the Bitcoin mining. It's just a different website though. So if you look into Ethereum, which is an altcoin, you can just go to etherscan.io. And this is a block explorer for the Ethereum blockchain. You can click on charts up here. Scroll to the bottom. Click on the pie chart. And Bitclub is here mining 2.2% of the Ethereum blockchain. Let's see if there's any questions. Nope, no questions. So verifiable mining on blockchain explorers, good relationships with the manufacturer, and a good business opportunity for those who want to build a business around Bitcoin mining, because you can be a passive investor, meaning you buy your equipment, you earn, you reinvest, and you earn, right? So you're investing in computer hardware that's going to earn for you. It's an asset that's generating income. It's there's no other opportunity like this right now, because most products that you'll buy will end up losing value, right? You buy vitamins, you put them on your shelf, they lose value. You buy any product from any other company, usually decreases in value. But our product, which is an Antminer or a GPU, a graphic card, doesn't really devalue over time because we're putting it to work to create a currency which is going up in value. So there's no other opportunity like this right now. And so you can actually build a business around this. So you can take the passive route and say, you know what, I'm going to put in X amount of money and then just collect my Bitcoins. It's kind of like investing in a gold mine. You're not actually going to go tunnel and dig out your own gold. You're just going to invest and let the professionals use that money to buy the picks, buy the bulldozers, hire the manpower to go dig out the gold, and then you just want your gold payments every day because you invested. So you can invest in Bitclub Network that way. Just treat it passively as an income producer for you. Or you can build a business around Bitcoin mining. So you can get out there, get to work, teach people about Bitcoin, how it's mined, and you can sell them a product that's going to generate income for them and their family. And you'll be compensated for doing so, and they make it very easy. They give you your personalized websites. It's translated in 20 plus languages, and we do all the dirty work. We do the deals. We do the negotiations with Bitmain. We ship and purchase the hardware and install and maintain it in our facilities in Iceland, in China. There's a facility opening up in Montana this year. So a power plant is being built specifically for this data center, which will allow us to continue to grow our mining pool. And so what is it going to cost you to join Bitclub Network if you wish to join? Well, first you'll have to get back in touch with the person that invited you to this call, because it's a member. You got to be invited by a member. And it's going to be a one-time fee of $99 to get you access to the company. This $99 fee, just think about it as your website, back office, to cover the website, back office costs. We're all in this together. We've all got the same job. We're all investing in hardware, earning our Bitcoin. And so somebody's got to pay the staff for, to upgrade the websites, do the support tickets. So we all kind of take care of those costs by paying $99 lifetime membership to join Bitclub Network. And once you are a member, you can buy into the pool. They broke it down into 3 parts. So $3,500 is optimally what you want to spend. We looked at the costs of those Antminers. You're looking at $3,000 off the website or $5,000 off of Amazon. We've talked about how many you would need to even be competitive on your own. So we see that the startup cost to mine Bitcoin from your basement is quite heavy. So Bitclub Network, you're looking at an investment of $3,500 or more if you can. Usually what I recommend is you invest the price of a Bitcoin if you can. But if you can't, it's okay. They have smaller pools for you to start off. And then over time, if you can earn more, if you can build a business, you can upgrade. So they break it down into $500, $1,000, or $2,000. And this will allow you to join the mining pool for 1,000 days. So your equipment will be installed on your behalf. It takes 30 days before you start earning. And a lot of people will freak out and say, well, why do I have to wait 30 days? Well, I showed you on Bitmain's website that if you ordered an Antminer off of their website today, it'll be shipped on March 31st. So you just have to realize that this is a real business ordering real products. There are going to be delays. The demand is really high for Bitcoin mining hardware. So if you join Bitclub Network, you can't just transfer money into Bitcoin instantly. So there are delays in deployment. I think 30 days is very generous. I've been in the company now over a year, and they've been deploying hardware now for the last couple of months, and it's a slow growth. And I can see that 30 days is very generous. If they should actually up that to 60 days probably, but 30 days is actually a good deal. And so you'll get 1,000 days of mining, and you can choose how much of those earnings you reinvest. So we talk about the iPhone analogy earlier. So you can actually withdraw 100% of your daily earnings each and every day right into your pocket, or you can choose to reinvest those earnings back into the business, a certain percentage, so that you can keep your contracts rolling, so that you can continuously mine with Bitclub Network without having to reinvest out of pocket ever again. And for the business builders on this call, people that might want to share this opportunity with others, this is a very exciting feature because there's no auto ship in Bitclub Network. There's never, once you've joined and bought a share in the pool, a share in the mine, you're basically going to earn and reinvest without having an auto ship. There's nothing else to buy. So these repurchases, and anytime someone you refer to Bitclub Network does a repurchase, some of that money, a certain percentage of that money, it's like a micro sale. So it creates a micro commission, and that's good for everybody in the pool. We talked about an example earlier. If you have 1,000 Bitcoins to share amongst 300,000 members, those 1,000 Bitcoins will be shared evenly amongst members based on how many shares you have. And then a certain percentage of those Bitcoins will be reinvested into Bitclub Network. And from that percentage, there's a slight percentage that goes to commissions, and the other percentage goes into buying more hardware and paying for the electricity and all those operating costs that we have. So it's a very unique business model. So this is for the Bitcoin mining pools. This money goes towards buying those ASIC machinery that we talked about. Now for the altcoins, you need GPUs, those graphics cards that the gamers are pissed off at us about. So you can join that for $1,000 per share. And that'll give you 1,000 days of mining, and you can choose which coin you want to mine with Bitclub Network, and you can change this daily. We'll always mine the most profitable coins. Currently, it's Ethereum, Ethereum Cash, Zcash, and Monero. We used to do Dash, but that got removed recently because they don't use GPUs anymore. So this will change over time. And what I like about GPUs is that you can do other useful work with GPUs other than mine cryptocurrencies. So say 3, 4, 5 years down the road, you've got like 50 shares in the GPU pool and Ethereum goes to 0. Oh my goodness, cryptocurrencies are really gone. Well, we've got these big warehouses filled with GPUs that can do other useful work. They can do data crunching for artificial intelligence, which is getting pretty big. It's actually developing pretty fast. Any sort of number crunching intensive work, well, we've got these big data centers set up, so why don't we just rent out our power to a company that requires that number crunching, maybe do some computational fluid dynamics to send a rocket to Mars or something, and we can bill those companies for using our hardware, and that'll create income for us. So there's other useful work, there's resale, there's other stuff you can do with GPUs other than mine cryptocurrencies. So that was really reassuring for me, because if the altcoin space were to tank in 3, 4, 5 years from now, my investment is not all lost. We can find other work to do with the hardware. So if you think of it that way, the GPU pools are excellent. Now, the Bitcoin mining pools don't offer that security. The ASIC machines, like we discussed, they've got one job, is to mine Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. If Bitcoin goes to 0 tomorrow, our machines are pretty much useless. So, but I don't want to scare you guys. Bitcoin's got a good future. If you've done your research, you know it's going to stick around for a long time. And if you haven't, that's why you want to hang out with us, because we'll show you some good people to follow, some good resources to read up on, and you'll be as convinced as we are here. And you won't listen to the naysayers, the armchair critics that are criticizing Bitcoin every chance that they can. So before we go on to the business side, that's really all I have for you guys for the passive investor side. So you're really investing in hardware that's going to mine cryptocurrencies or do other useful work in the future on your behalf. Perhaps one last thing I'd like to mention is that we're really big on retail adoption. If Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are going to actually see tremendous growth in the next few years, more and more people are going to have to use it. There's going to be more retail adoption, and we've got a really good service called Coinbase, which we can distribute to stores, to merchants, and this will allow us to pretty much become the next Visa, if you will. Visa has a lot of money every time customers swipe their credit cards each and every day in stores. They take a fee, right? And if we can make it easier for retailers to accept cryptocurrency in their stores, whether it's Bitcoin or Club Coin or Bitcoin Cash, well, now we can collect those 1% or 2% transaction fees that are created every time a customer uses a crypto in store. And that's our long-term vision, if you will, with Bitclub. So right now we're heavily invested in mining, securing these blockchains. And in the future, we'd like to become the next Visa, use our large distribution network to promote retail adoption, and through that, create income for all of our members. And what's great about these blockchains is that as developers create APIs, like we're talking about votes and elections, we're talking about securing titles to land, anything that people introduce into the blockchain that needs to be verified, well, it's our computers that are verifying those transactions. So if a vote was to happen on the blockchain, those votes would have to be tallied up, and that would require proof of work, which is what our computers are doing, and we would collect the transaction fees for doing that proof of work. So there's so much that's going to come outside of just Bitcoin on these blockchains, and because we've invested in the hardware in these data centers that are securing this stuff, we're going to get paid on it. So it's very exciting. So that's really what I have for you for the passive investor, the guys who just want to come in, invest in an asset that's going to pay them residual income. And then we'll go on to the business side of things. So before we move on, I open the floor to any questions.
Hey, Sean, a quick question, just because I'm curious. During the PowerPoint there, it showed the MasterCard. It said mine directly to the MasterCard. Is that back available? I know they had it up at one point and then it disappeared. Is that back available and usable at this time? I know there's been a lot of issues with a lot of cards with that.
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's a lot going on in terms of how you can use cryptocurrencies. We can see that most, Visa, MasterCard don't want cryptos to piggyback on their network. I mean, they're the ones who have been working for the last 20, 30 years, however long they've been around to, get their network worldwide and those payment channels secured. And now here comes the cryptocurrency guys using their network to facilitate payments. So they're not going to let us piggyback on their hard work, which is normal. So finding Visa debit cards that'll integrate cryptos is quite hard right now, but there's going to be other solutions coming out in the near future for you to be able to convert, spend your cryptos, no doubt in my mind. Here in Canada, we have a service that we can actually, we have a company. I actually visited them today in Montreal, Canada, and these guys are very smart. They collect your cryptos and they pay your bills for you. So you send them a cryptocurrency payment of $1,000, and they'll put $1,000 on your MasterCard or $1,000 on your phone bill, and they're willing to do that because they see the future in cryptocurrencies. So there's going to be other ways for you to spend your money.
Okay, I was just curious because I saw the card pop up, and I knew a while back I'd seen that, and then the last couple of times I had Bitclub pulled up, I hadn't seen that card available. Yeah.
It's just hard. I mean, no one wants to do it. The hassle's too hard. No one wants to do the cards. So yeah. I don't even know what cards exist. I know there's a few, but I had Zappo card for a while. I used it, and now they shut it off.
Yeah.
So
BitPay. I think BitPay is still usable in the U.S., but the fees had gone through the freaking roof with them. And then a few of us had swapped to Uphold, which was amazing. Yeah. And then now they've shut down any usage of their cards in the U.S. So it's like at this point, it's like, put it to your bank account or, pay fees through the roof to do anything. So.
Yeah, no, it's going to be tough, and things are going to evolve. So we just have to, play it by ear. If you really need to sell, you can sell directly to peer-to-peer, right? Local Bitcoins. A lot of people are looking to buy your cryptos off of you. Services, cards. We just have to play it day by day, but.
Yeah. All right, cool. Thanks, sir.
No, good question. All right, any other questions? Anyone on this call before we move on? If you do, unmute yourself before you talk, please, because everybody's muted.
I have a question.
Sure. Maurizio?
Yes.
Okay. Hey.
So I noticed that you talked about you had to use a member code or whatever, whoever invited you to this presentation.
Yeah.
Is there an affiliate percentage paid out to it, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, we're going to cover that. That's in part 2 of this presentation. So yeah, there are commissions involved if you make a sale for the business, right? So we're a crowd-funded mining pool, and yes, you'll be paid a commission and recurring commissions, which we'll cover right in the next section.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so I don't see any other questions, so we'll move on to the business portion. So as a passive investor, yes, you can make money with Bitclub Network because your money is going towards purchasing hardware that is mining cryptocurrencies and paying you daily. Your returns will be based on your initial investment and how the pool is doing as a whole. So that's why I recommend, if you're going to be a passive investor, you're going to want to probably look at investing at the cost of a Bitcoin, whatever the market price is, right? If you come in for $500, and we talked about ant miners costing $5,000, and we have a $1 million electricity bill every month, your $500 is going to give you a small share in the pool to get your daily earnings. Like I bought $500 shares for my kids. They're earning about $2 a day right now. And I gave it to them. I said, guys, forget this for 3 years. Whatever's in this account in 3 years is yours. Whatever happens, happens, right? But are they going to retire off a $500 investment? No. You're not going to do life-changing income for $500. People come in with 30, 40, 50,000. Those are the passive investors. Guys, just take my money, buy the machines. I want my Bitcoin. I want nothing to do with talking about Bitclub Network with others. So you have to come in a little bit more upfront if you're going to take this opportunity passively. But if you want to build a business, then you'll make commissions on top of your mining earnings, which is what we're covering right now. So go back to the presentation here. All right, so Bitclub Network has 5 ways for you to earn commissions for making sales for the business. So just like any business on the planet, guys, if you go out to work and you make a sale for a company, you're entitled to a commission for your time. So the commission structure for every business will vary. So we're going to cover the commission system for Bitclub Network. One way to earn commissions is through team structure. So the work you put in and the work that your team puts in, it's called a binary cycle bonus. So anytime you introduce someone to Bitclub Network, you'll have to put them in your organization, either on your right team or your left team. And any mining pool share that is purchased awards what we call binary credits. So if you look at the right here, it says every $500 full share that is sold in your organization is worth 3 credits. Any $1,000 share that is sold in your organization is worth 6 credits, and the $2,000 shares sold are worth 12 credits. And we're referring to these shares here. So if you sell a pool 1 or a pool 2, or if you sell all 3, the pool 1 is worth 3 credits, the pool 2 is worth 6, and the pool 3 is worth 12. And these credits will be awarded to you. And anytime you have 15 credits on your left side, 15 credits on your right side, you're awarded a $200 commission. So that's one way to earn commissions, is by bringing volume. So by you and your team making sales, that generates volume below you. And when you have 15 credits of volume on left, 15 credits of volume on right, you're awarded a $200 commission. And these credits are carried over every single day. So you don't lose these credits. If you make a sale today and your next sale comes a week from now, you don't lose any of your credits. They just stick around until you have 15. So this is the hardest part of the comp plan for people to understand, especially if you're new to this type of comp plan. It took me a while to get to it, but it really is not much to worry about. I mean, once you join, we'll help you understand this a bit better. Anytime somebody cycles on your team, so if someone is awarded a $200 cycle bonus, there's a $10 matching bonuses that are paid out to 8 members above that person. So anyone on your team that has a cycle, you get $10. So that's nice. If your team is winning, if your team is getting to work and they're making those cycle bonuses, you're going to get a little piece of that pie as well. So you'll get a $10 commission every time that happens. So this is off that volume we talked about. This is easier to understand. It's your direct sales commission. So if you go out there and sell, what is your direct commission? You get a 5% commission for whatever your first 2 members purchase. So the first 2 sales that you make in Bitclub Network, you get a 5% commission. And so we won't do the math on every one of them, but you just really have to take out your calculator. Whatever you sell, guys. So if you sell a $3,500 founder position, you get 5%. So you get $175. So every time I talk about percentages, if you want to calculate it, just take out your calculator. So you get 5% commission off of your first 2 members. If you sponsor a 3rd, a 4th, and a 5th person, they're called your team 2. So you get a little bit more of a percentage. You get 6%. And now it gets interesting because you get a bit of a commission off of their work as well. So there's a saying by John Rockefeller, he'd rather be paid 1% of 100 people's work rather than 100% of his own efforts. And this is where these types of business models are very advantageous, because if you're working with people that get to work, well, not only are you getting paid off of your personal work, so that's 6% commission off of these 3 people, well, you're going to get a 1% commission off of their work. So it's not much, it's just 1%, but hey, it adds up, right? And it's work that others people do. 6%, your 6th, 7th, and 8th person that you invite over to Bitclub Network is called your team 3. So now you get a 7% commission off of their purchases. You get a 2% commission off of their team 1, which is those first 2 people that they sponsor. And you get a 1% commission off of their team 2. So once again, you're making money off of the work of your team. And finally, if you make it to 9+ people, so anyone after 8 is considered your team 4, and the comp plan does not change from here. You'll get 8% commission from here on out. So any sale that you make is worth 8% in your pocket. You'll make a 3% commission off of their team 1, a 2% commission off their team 2, and a 1% off their team 3. Once again, this might be a little bit overwhelming for this call, but it's really all automated. If you make some sales for Bitclub, you'll get the correct percentage. And if they make some sales for Bitclub, you'll get the right percentage. It's all automated. And that's for your direct sales commissions. Now, what's interesting is there's repurchases. So we talked about those Bitcoins being mined, being shared to members. So if you're making a certain amount of Bitcoins each and every day, well, you have the power in your back office to reinvest a certain amount of those Bitcoins to put aside for that next iPhone. I need to put 30% aside for the iPhone 7, the iPhone 8. So every time members that you bring in do a repurchase, well, that's another purchase, right? They're contributing money back into the business. So there's a certain percentage of that money that is used to pay a commission, and the other percentage goes towards that new iPhone, that new ASIC miner, that new GPU. So this is very exciting because this can be done without an auto ship. So no member in this company is actually paying a monthly membership. No one's paying $100 a month or $200 a month to stay in Bitclub Network. They're just reinvesting a percentage of their Bitcoins or their Ethereum back into the company. So your team 1, which is your first 2 people, you'll get a 10% commission off of their repurchases. So whatever they choose to repurchase with, you'll get a 10% commission. Your team 2, you'll get a 12% commission off of their repurchases, and you'll get a 2% commission off of their team 1. Your team 3, which is your 6th, 7th, and 8th person, you'll get a 15% commission off their repurchases. You'll make 5% commissions off of their team 1 and 3% commissions off of their team 2. And finally, your team 4, which is anyone after 8 people sponsored into Bitclub Network, you'll make an 18% commission off of their repurchases, 8% off of their team 1, 6% off their team 2, and 3% off their team 3. And once again, this is full passive automated income without the need for an auto ship. And that's why I tell a lot of people on this call and on my team that if there's any business that's worth building right now, if there's any product I could sell to people, if it's vitamins, car insurance, I've seen them all. I've seen so many different companies out there selling overpriced products that you can get down at Walmart that do, probably the same better job and is cheaper. But when it comes to Bitcoin mining hardware, we've looked at some prices. We went to the Bitmain website. We've checked Amazon. We kind of have an idea of what Bitcoin mining hardware is going to cost you as an individual if you wanted to mine Bitcoin on your own in your basement. We've looked at what the setup might look like because you're not a professional, you're not a programmer. So joining Bitclub from anywhere between $500 and $3,500 will give you a share in our pool. It'll allow you to mine Bitcoins with us each and every day and allow you to grow a business around Bitcoin mining. And you'll earn commissions by selling this hardware to others. And you'll be in a team environment where, we can earn together because it's teamwork too as well, right? You're not paid just on your efforts, you're paid on the efforts of everyone else. So that's the compensation plan with Bitclub Network. It's a compensation plan that's pretty much allowed me to, retire, quit my day job, if you will. So I'm pretty much doing this full time, which is why I traveled to Iceland. I'm going to go for my second visit this year. I'll be in Montana as soon as they allow the tour there. So I'm really taking this business seriously. And if you do the same, I think you guys can make some big changes for yourselves because this is time sensitive. This hardware is very high in demand. Eventually in a year, 2 years from now, I don't know, it's going to be sold out. You won't be able to buy anymore. Those who got in are in, and then there'll be no more room for new members. We'll have to find other ways to earn money outside of the mining. And, who knows, the cryptocurrency Bitcoin could be $100,000 by then, and you'll have missed out because you didn't take action. So that's it, guys. It's been an hour. I want to thank you for your time. I hope you learned a lot about how Bitcoin works, how it's mined, and an opportunity for you to, get into a data center that's mining coins on your behalf. If you guys have any questions, unmute yourself and ask away. All right, there's no questions. One last tip, guys. I didn't really have any money last year to invest into Bitcoin mining because, we're talking about $500 to $3,500. I used the market to my advantage. Bitcoins were relatively cheap. Well, it doesn't matter what the price is, right? As long as the value is going up. So right now, Bitcoin had a really big correction recently. It went from $20,000 down to currently it's trading at about $8,000. So that's a low. There's blood in the streets. So if there's any good time to buy Bitcoins, it would be now. And then you just sit on them for a while, right? If you look at the market cap, so Bitcoins are trading at about $8,000, and you don't have to buy a full Bitcoin. You can, if you only had let's say you only had a $500 right now, $500 divided by $8,000, that would net you 0.06 Bitcoin. Now, if this price was to go up back to $20,000, let's say in 2 months, hypothetically. Well, now those 0.065 Bitcoins are worth $1,200. So see what you just did there? You leveraged the market growth to get free money to invest in a vehicle that's going to create passive residual income for yourself. So I did a lot of that last year. I was just buying Bitcoin every chance that I could as it was going up in value. And then as my Bitcoins had more value, it allowed me to invest into Bitclub Network to start my business. So that's my final tip for you today. Play the markets to your advantage. This is a tremendous dip that we've had here. So if you bought up here, you'd be really sad because now your Bitcoins are worth much less. So you can't really invest in Bitclub Network if you bought here. But if you buy here and then it starts going up again, well, now you've got a lot of free money to leverage. You can keep it and be greedy and then just go buy a watch or something. But you'll never create financial independence if you're buying watches or cars with your money, right? You got to invest it in an asset that's going to work for you and then use that money from the asset to diversify and build residual income for yourself. So that's my final tip. Once again, my name is Sean Lynch, residual Bitcoin miner over at Bitclub Network. And remember, get back to the person that invited you to this call. If you have any questions, join our Facebook group, Residual Bitcoin Miners on Facebook, and we'll be glad to help.
Great job, Sean. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sean.
No problem, guys. Thanks.